Welcome to the Moneypants Solution digital online course, where we're going to show you how to set up the Moneypants solution in your home. This is step 3, get to work. This is a longer step, so we'll split it into 2 parts. In part 1, we'll cover the following. You'll let your kids start working and doing their jobs. We'll go over how to ease into new jobs, how to use the timer, how to do job inspections, and how to use point charts effectively, including tips and tricks on how to give points for habits and behaviors, and how to reinforce with non-monetary rewards. In part 2, we'll cover the following. What to do if jobs don't get done, how to adapt Moneypants for toddlers using Moneypants Junior, and we'll talk about when to start using the consistency bonus. Also, as part of this step, we'll share some secrets for making laundry super easy. And we'll show you the 4 rookie mistakes most parents make when it comes to chores and how to avoid them. Now that you've watched the chore training videos, you have jobs delegated, point charts printed and posted on the fridge, and your kids know their new financial obligations, it's go time. We'll start with going over how to run job time. Initially, your kids are probably going to be very excited to start their new jobs and start getting paid. The first week is going to be what we call the honeymoon period. Use that excitement to your advantage. Right after the meal, set the 30-minute job timer and let your kids know it's time to get to work. Have your kids tackle their new jobs. There is one exception. Don't start toddlers the first week. Only let your kids ages 5 and up start their jobs the first week before trying to work with toddlers. If your kids have any questions, have them watch the training video for their job again. By the time they graduate from their job, they should have the training video memorized. During the 30-minute timer, you as the parent should go from job to job checking to see how your kids are doing. Verbally help them out when they're doing something incorrectly, but don't do the job for them. A good idea is to keep your hands behind your back. Sometimes, kids will purposefully act helpless to trick their parents into doing their jobs for them, or they will hand their parents things to put away. If your hands are behind your back, you won't fall into that trap. When a child reports to you that they've finished their job, grab your inspection checklist from off the top of the fridge and go to your child's job area. Go over the checklist items one at a time, reading them out loud. Point to the areas you are inspecting. If something doesn't pass inspection, tell your child what is incomplete and let them get back to work. Repeat until the job is done correctly according to the master checklist. While it may seem tedious, this is a good investment of your time because this is the job your kid is going to have for the next year. You're setting the standard of work quality. Be strict and meticulous. Unless you want a half-done bathroom for the next year, set high standards from the get-go. For the first week, you will allow multiple inspections. Even after the timer beeps, you will continue inspecting and correcting and giving feedback. The goal of the honeymoon week is for your kids to learn how to do their jobs correctly and independently. After the first week, though, your kids will have to pass inspection before the timer beeps. If they don't, their job will be given away and someone else will get paid. Once your child's job passes inspection, tell them they passed inspection and they have permission to mark their point chart for that job. Remember, the point charts and the jobs are your kids' stewardship. They should be in charge of marking their own points. The only time the inspector touches a point chart is to mark a 0 or an E for missed jobs. We'll cover all of this in the consistency bonus in a minute, but also in detail in Moneypants step number 4. This is how to ease into job time for the first week. As part of this honeymoon week, we recommend you have an immediate reward available for anyone who's able to complete their job and pass inspections, even if it's not within the 30-minute timer. This could be donuts or a movie or some other treat. The reason you do this is not only to make the challenge of starting a new job fun, but to prove to the kids that they are capable of doing their new jobs and capable of doing them correctly. Also, you as the parent will know that your kids are capable of doing their jobs as well. You will know that your kids can meet the high standards outlined on the job checklist. If the promised treat is good enough, your kids will get their jobs done. So the first week, your kids will get treats and points. Remember to only give treats and points to the kids who complete their jobs correctly and pass inspections. After the first 3 days, raise the standards. Only give the treat to the kids who can complete their jobs correctly and pass inspections within the 30-minute timer. This prepares them for the consistency bonus, which you will implement as soon as possible, usually after the first week. Once job time is established after the first week, the job timer is going to be your best friend. You should use it for everything. The reason we do this is to make sure job time doesn't drag on for hours. If you let job time drag on, you will in essence teach your kids to dread and hate job time. But if you hold kids to a half-hour job time, it's just enough time to get their jobs done. It's a big push, and then it's over. We've also found that 30 minutes is the right amount of time to get jobs done. 10 minutes isn't enough, and 1 hour is too long. The timer reduces the temptation for the parents to step in and just do the jobs themselves. Job time doesn't turn into something painful to watch, like a long, drawn-out execution. Think of it like football. It ends when it ends, not like baseball, which can go on indefinitely. When you implement the consistency bonus, you will give away your child's job after 30 minutes if they haven't completed it. This is actually a mercy rule. If they're not done in 30 minutes, they're simply not going to get it done. Give it to someone else. The timer teaches kids to just get in there and get to work. This concept will carry with them in the future as they tackle challenges as adults. Just get in there and get it done. There's no time like the present. You can also use the timer for bedtime. We recommend you set a 10-minute timer for your kids to brush their teeth, use the bathroom, get a drink, get their pajamas on, mark their points, help their younger buddies brush their teeth and get ready for bed, and get into bed themselves. If one of your kids is out of bed after the timer beeps, simply give them a job that they have to do for free. They don't get paid for it. Or they can pay you $1. So if one of your kids wants to get out of bed after the timer has beeped, they can do it in exchange for a job. This makes bedtime manageable and keeps it from dragging on for hours, and parents don't have to yell or lose their temper. You can also use the timer for behavior. If, for example, you have kids who are having trouble getting along, you can set a 30-minute timer. If they can refrain from fighting for the entire 30 minutes, they will get peacemaking points on their charts. We go into more detail about how to use the timer for behavior in the Q&A. When doing job inspections, stick to the inspection checklist. This will make your job super easy. The checklist accomplishes multiple things. It eliminates confusion as to what's expected. The expectations for the job are clearly defined. There's no confusion as to what qualifies as done. Either the job is done or it isn't. It eliminates favoritism and keeps the inspections objective and fair. The same requirements apply to everyone regardless of age or experience. It helps avoid manipulation and emotion. It's straightforward. Either the mirror is polished or it isn't. Either the toilet bowl was scrubbed or it wasn't. Either the trash was taken out or it wasn't. It removes the need for criticism. Criticism is a personal attack on your kid. With the inspection checklist, you're just evaluating if something is done or not, and has nothing to do with how you view your child. Think of it this way. You are like the air traffic controller. Your job is to help the pilot land safely, and you are constantly giving him corrections and feedback. You're not calling him an idiot if he's off a few degrees. You simply tell him to make a minor correction to get back on course. The job inspector uses the checklist to do the same thing. Give your children corrections on the job they've done until they've completed it and landed the plane safely. It ensures there is consistent quality. This is an important part of the work ethic you want your kids to carry with them throughout life. If something is worth doing, it's worth doing well. If they learn to do consistent quality work, they'll be able to charge more for the work they provide. It's the difference between them getting paid $10 for giving someone a haircut versus getting paid $120 for a haircut. People will trust them and pay for quality. When it comes to job inspections, they have to be done every day. It is work to do inspections. Some days your kids will challenge the system, but those may be the most important days to do inspections. You are teaching your kids to work and do a good job, rain or shine, whether they feel well or not, whether they want to work or not. That's a big part of learning the essential value of love of work. And because it's so important, we included job inspections as an essential part of the point chart for parents, Moneypants Boss. Everything should go back to the point charts. All privileges should be contingent on the point chart. The point chart is the hub for all questions about activities and privileges. For example, here are a list of questions you as a parent may hear. Mom, can I watch TV? Can I have a friend over? Will you give me a ride to the mall? Dad, can I use the car? Can John and I go to the lake? Can you and I go motorcycle riding this weekend? The answer to all of these questions is yes, you may, if. The if is contingent on the behavior leading up to the activity. Here are some sample responses to the questions above. Yes, you may, if there's no fighting with your sister. Yes, you may, if Your room is clean. Yes, I will, if you earn the consistency bonus this week. Yes, we can, if you get your homework done. Every privilege and activity should be contingent on the chores and habits highlighted on the point charts. The point charts are the best tool you have as a parent to determine the worthiness of your child to participate in activities. It makes your job as parent so much less subjective. You don't have to wonder if your child deserves to go to an activity. You can look at their point chart and see if they can. It takes the drama and the emotion out of the relationship. And the best part is, it's your child's choice if they want to go. Because if they truly want to go, they'll get their job done. It puts the onus back on your children where it belongs. It makes them responsible for their own actions. And if they mess up and aren't able to go, they have no one to blame but themselves. It takes the anger and the manipulation out of the relationship. This is also known as the if-then principle. If your child does a certain set of behaviors, then they can do a certain activity they wanted. Setting up if-then consequences with your kids gets your children thinking about consequences of their actions. It helps develop critical thinking and also helps with their maturity. It helps them consider their future and what actions today will mean for them tomorrow. Keep in mind, your children are still earning points this whole time. We're not substituting privileges for points. We're paying points as well as privileges. They get paid the cash at the end of the week as well as are able to go to the party they wanted to attend. For example, say your son wants to use the car next weekend. You notice that he has not been mowing the lawn. So you tell him he can use the car next weekend if he remembers to mow the lawn this Saturday. Come Sunday morning, your son did not mow the lawn on Saturday. You pull him aside and calmly and lovingly say, "Jack, I see you didn't mow the lawn. That means you may not use the car next weekend. I'm sorry you chose not to mow the lawn. That's really disappointing. I thought you wanted to use the car because you had a date. But using the car was contingent on you mowing the lawn, and since you chose to not mow the lawn, you also chose to not use the car. If I were to let you use the car now, it would make me a liar." And you can feel bad for your son, and your son will in all likelihood do his best to convince you to go back on your word. These are the common arguments you'll hear. "Please, Dad, give me a second chance. I'll do it next week, I promise. I'll do it as soon as I get home from my date. I forgot I was too busy, but I'll do the job right now." He may even get out the lawnmower and mow the lawn right then. But whatever you do, don't go back on your word. If you told him he had to mow the lawn by Saturday in order to use the car next weekend, and he didn't keep his end of the bargain, then you cannot let him use the car, or else you will be a liar. And that will ruin the relationship of trust with your son, and he won't believe you next time you tell him something. Avoid idle threats. Don't say something unless you are willing to follow through with it. On the other hand, if you promised your child something, be sure to keep your end of the agreement. If you tell your daughter that you will take her out for ice cream if she does her homework by 5 o'clock every day that week, and she does it, then make sure you take her out for ice cream. There should be no doubt as to whether you will keep your word. There should be no confusion that you mean what you say. Yes, it means you have to watch what you say, and you have to be careful about the words that come out of your mouth, but you as the parent are working to maintain a relationship of trust with your children. When it comes to inspections and holding your kids to high standards, this is a good opportunity to practice sticking to what you mean. Also, if you always speak the truth and you always mean what you say, and your kids know that you never lie, then how much more powerful are the words when you say things like, "I love you." And that's really what we're trying to communicate with our children through this whole system. We as parents love them enough to give them the tools to be happy and successful in life. Feel free to take a break at this point, maybe have a bowl of ice cream, because when you're done, we're going to move on to part 2.